Anytime you hook a billfish, it's an experience that you'll always remember. When you hook a blue marlin, the power and the strength that they exert is unbelievable and never forgotten. Tonight, it's all about the marlin here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, powered by Harbor Trucks and presented by Yamaha.
Hello Floridians, we're glad to see everyone back for another week here on the one and only Florida Insider Fishing Report. Not only do we have our special friends here from Casa Vieja talking to you about your next trip in Guatemala, but we have one heck of a show that I get excited for every season. Rick, do you know why?
Why?
Because I get to say, get me a Marlin! Do you know what that's from?
No,
Austin Powers, come on, bro.
Oh,
come
Austin
on,
Powers,
that's your favorite.
come on, man. I only know about
can't
get
even
into my belly.
Okay, well, never mind. I know someone who else is probably more excited than we are because, you know, Dave, you're all about the marlin.
If I'm fishing in water that's got them in it, that's what I'm fishing for.
If there's anything
I love
you know
to catch
anything
a blue
about.
marlin. Yeah,
Marlin,
I really don't know much about nothing but
no,
blue
you don't.
marlins.
Exactly.
That's a seasoned face right there. You can tell that's a blue marlin face.
Seasoned face. We all love to hear that statement. All right, we're going to start off with our best foot forward here and head up to the Yeti Panhandle region where marlin fishing is, well, off the hook, really. Let's hear it, Pat.
Hey, Brie, the Yeti Panhandle region has the best blue marlin fishing in the state, hands down, and some very big fish as well. This summer's tournament have seen numerous fish over 500 pounds weighed, with a couple pushing 800 pounds. And our fishery is so good because we have deep water relatively close to shore. The 100-fathom line is 30 miles outside the pass. You go another 30 and you're in the DeSoto Canyon or offshore of the steps in 1,000-plus feet of water. And we also have access to the deep water oil rigs to the southwest, and that's where many of these big tournament fish were caught by live baiting with tunas. Marlin, they've been caught in every month of the year, but prime time is May through fall, and we also often get a very good white marlin bite late in the summer, during the early fall, late summer time period around the nipple and the 131 hole. It's all about finding good water or bait. And right now, the blue water is 150-plus miles offshore, which is a long way to go. But there have been some whites caught this past week in green water near the nipple and the elbow. You want to use satellite imagery to find out where that blue water is and also to indicate possible rips where blue water is pushed up on the green water. And we fished Saturday south of the Independence Hub, found blue water. We released a blue and jumped off another. Both fish hit a Moldcraft wide ranger. We pull a variety of lures and baits on the out of here, but a wide ranger and also a black bark 1656 is almost always in the spread. And there's the photo of the blue we released Saturday out there by the hub.
Nice job, Patar.
Yeah, it was a fun day. Staying offshore but moving way inshore, the king mackerel fishing is good right now, particularly off Panama City. I spoke with Captain Justin Leake, and he reports plenty of bait around the entrance buoys, the weather buoy, and the bridge spans. And where you find the bait, you're going to find the kings. Use sabiki rigs to catch a few dozen cigar minnows and herrings, and then slow troll them right around the bait schools, or travel offshore and fish over natural or man-made structure. So most of these kings are schoolie, 10-pound class fish, but there have been a few sailfish mixed in and dolphin as well by anglers targeting the king mackerels. And then moving inshore, and speaking of mackerel, the schools of Spanish are being found along the beaches, and big solo Spanish are cruising bay flats and the points. Along the beaches, you will often see the Spanish flipping on the top just off the second sandbar as they feed on glass minnows. And this is particularly true along the beaches west of St. Andrews. Additionally, the north side of Crab Island has been covered up with Spanish this week during the early morning incoming tides. Troll spoons, diamond jigs, straw rigs, where you see them flipping. And you should catch plenty of the smaller but still legal Spanish. If you want to target the big ones, the 4 to 6 pounders, they're going to be in the bays, and you can catch them by casting hard swim baits or topwater baits and spoons along the edges of the deeper flats and along the drop-offs near the points. That's where those bigger Spanish are going to be. And then finally inshore, the same bait that's got the Spanish all fired up, the pilchards and small herring, they're coming in the passes, and that's also got the black snapper or mangrove snapper bite working pretty well. You want to throw a 1/4-inch mesh like a cracker cast net on the bait. Use a bigger mesh, you're going to gill a lot of baits. You're going to find the bait near the passes along the edges over grass and sand bottom. Once you got your bait, anchor up current of some structure like the Destin Bridge, the jetties in the inlets, there's some of those deeper residential docks near the inlet. Nose hook your baits with a small circle hook on a Carolina rig. Lighten up your leader. You're going to get more bites, 10 to 15 pound fluorocarbon. And then the bay mangroves are running 10 to 12 inches.
All right, thank you so much, Pat. Great report from the Yeti Panhandle region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots. Pat says inshore, Spanish mackerel along the second bar in Panama City trolling spoons and straw rigs. And then offshore, vermilion snapper on the natural bottom and wrecks and 90 to 150 feet of water on Cut Bay, Brie.
You know, Rick, I do love my tuna, but in the East region, where you can find blue marlin feeding on bonita and blackfin juvies, I think they got me beat. Tell us more, Mike.
What do you got, Mike?
That's true, Brie. You know, if more anglers targeted blue and white marlin in my region, there certainly would be a lot more fish caught, because we do have a good number of them, you know. But most of them come as incidental catches by guys that are trolling, and a lot of times, you know, they brought a knife to a gunfight. The best marlin fishing is off Palm Beach County. That's where the Gulf Stream comes in close to shore, and the deep water off Lost Tree Village. They get a lot of bonita there in the summer months. That draws the marlin into the area to feed. Push Button Hill, that atoll off of St. Lucie Inlet, that sees a lot of blackfin tunas, so it also sees a good number of marlin, particularly around the new and full moons, which we got a full moon this weekend. Serious marlin anglers in Martin and St. Lucie County usually run across the Gulf Stream to the northwestern tip of the Bahamas or to West End. They fish in a place called the Pocket or the Corner. They look north from there a lot of times. Off the Pocket, they target the blue marlin with big cone head lures, black bars, stuff like that, or by trolling rigged Spanish mackerel or horse ballyhoo. But then off, you know, in Palm Beach County off Lost Tree Village, the way to go is to slow troll a bridled live bonita or a really big blue runner. One of the big problems off that area is that there's a lot of sharks in the area, and they'll home in on a big blue, bite the tail or the motor off the fish, and once they do, that fish is pretty much done. We do get a few white marlin in my area, more so in late fall and early winter, but we do see some this time of the year. I haven't heard of one caught this year so far. Average blue marlin in my region is going to be like 150 to 300 pounds, but we see them up to 500 pounds or more. The other thing we got, you know, over the last 2 weeks, the dolphin bites really picked up. There's still kind of no consistent pattern to where the fish are being caught. One day they're in 70 to 80 feet of water. The next day, all the action seems like it's in 1,700 feet of water. So they're definitely coming off the weed lines, but there's no, you know, there's so much weed out there right now. There's no consistency. You got to constantly move, try different patches until you find fish, and then either stay on that weed line or stay in that depth and look for more. To be effective, really you just kind of want to run and gun and stop at anything that looks good, pitch baits at it, or troll along that area for, you know, 15 or 20 minutes. If you don't get a bite, move on. And just keep moving, pitching, trolling until you find fish. What's nice is that there's been some good fish in the mix. Most of the fish are schoolies under 15 pounds, but a fair number of 30-pounders caught this week, more so than we've seen in the last couple weeks. I got a photo there. That's Bill Kopecki. He had his lucky hat on when he caught that schoolie dolphin. He caught that right in the middle of a sailfish bite, the only dolphin he caught that day, and that fish ate a live redfin.
Yeah, sporting the harbor trucks, the way to go, dude. All right, let's go inshore, man.
Well, you know, this weekend's full moon signals the height of the summer snook spawn. That means the snook will be moving all week. A lot of the male and female fish, they'll be traveling the beaches and also pushing in and out of the inlets. Seems like they change the whole population every 3 or 4 days. While all the inlets in my region are going to have big schools of fish, this is a good time to get away from the crowds, hit those areas near the inlet where they're likely to stage before they actively spawn. You can beat the heat, get in on some great catch and release snook fishing around the Lake Worth, Juneau Piers, the Blue Heron Bridge, the Stewart Causeway, the North Bridge and Fort Pierce. Go to any of those areas at night. You'll do really well right now and beat the crowds, beat the heat. Live pilchards or sardines are the beta choice at the piers. Around the bridges at night, you want to fish a topwater plug or a big jig. This is also a really good time to fish a saltwater assassin Alabama rig. I like to fish it with 4-inch sea shads on it in either that copper juice or green hornet color, and then just roll it down the shadow line. Looks kind of like a school of bait going down the shadow line. The bite from that fish will about rip the rod out of your hands. Average snook is going to be 6 to 12 pounds. A lot of fish over 20 pounds in the mix. I got a photo there. Anthony and Christina Rubino, they teamed up to pull that big snook. That came out of the mouth of the St. Lucie Inlet, and that fish ate a live croaker. Now, the full moon in July, August, and September, that's when the mangrove snapper push into the inlets to spawn. So this is what, like the first big movement of those fish. You'll find them around the rock piles and jetties as well as any structure that's along the shorelines near the inlets, where the juvenile pilchards and threadfins and red minnows are all starting to school up. That's where those fish will be. And these aren't your normal 1-pound juveniles. These are 3 to 10-pound adult mangrove snapper that come inshore to feed on those baitfish schools and also to feed on the hatching turtles. The key is really to fish the ebbing tides and the slack tides. That's when the current isn't strong. The fish come out of the rocks to feed, pitch a live sand perch, a pinfish, a threadfin, juvenile pilcher. Those are all good baits. But if you can get a 4 to 6 inch Spanish sardine, it's pretty much money on those big snapper. And those average mangrove snapper are going to be like 2 to 5 pounds.
All right, well, let's talk about how the average bass fishing day is. Mike, what do you got for us?
Well, you know what? This has just been a great summer for the Butler chain of lakes up in Central Florida, and particularly Lakes Butler and Lake Louise. That's where Captain Steve Niemiller, he's been crushing the fish every morning. The fish are up and schooling on those juvenile shad right at first light. So just look for bass that are actively busting the surface out in the open water. Once you find those fish, you can throw a mini steel shad, a topwater plug, a Bass Assassin 5-inch shad, any of those baits in the shad colors, blue back, silver belly. You can catch plenty of fish up to 3 or 4 pounds. By 9:30, those fish are down. But if you do get a rainstorm, they'll pop up after the rainstorm, and then they pop up again right before dark so you can get on a late afternoon bite. And then once that school bite shuts down, you want to switch to fishing live shiners around the open holes in the deep water hydrilla patches. Most of those are in 10 to 12 feet of water. I was talking to Niemiller the other day. He says the best shiner bite has been slow trolling the bait around the edges of those deep water hydrilla patches, and wherever you catch one fish, there's likely to be 10 or 12 or 15 more, so stick in that area. Average bass on shiner is going to be 1 to 4 pounds with fish to 5 pounds in the mix right now. So the Butler chain of lakes is on fire.
All right, thank you so much, Hollywood. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Atlas Jack Plate hotspots from the East region. Mike says inshore, spotted sea trout around the islands of Harbor Branch at dawn. Use live shrimp, die dappers, and 5-inch saltwater assassin shads. And then offshore, wahoos at dawn in 200 to 400 feet of water off of Juneau Pier. High-speed trolling with lures and slow trolling with double hook live bait rigs would work for those guys.
You know something, Rick?
What you got?
Blue Marlin is still on my bucket list.
Oh, well, guess what?
What?
Casa Vieja is going to be here in a minute.
I
Maybe we
know
can
they are.
sugar talk Daddy about it and we can get you down there.
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything, but since she said it, well, we're just getting started here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. And coming up next, we're dropping a line to the Northeast region and getting ready for our guest from Casa Vieja. But not before Dave showing us how to drop a line at the CCA workbench. What are we rigging and techniquing, Dave?
We're talking about Blue Marlin. If you can't get to Guatemala, there's some places in Florida where you can go to catch.
Sounds good to me. We'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats. Always in the game. SiriusXM Marine. Weather, fishing info, and channel surfing. Daiquiri Deck. Sarasota's favorite place to meet. And Sea Sucker. Get pumped.
Hi, this is Chris Freeland of Harbor Trucks, and my family has been in the business for over 70 years, and I hope that means as much to you as it does to us. Trucks have always been my passion, and I've assembled a team of experts to help find the right truck for you.
Harbor Trucks also has a dedicated commercial department that can design and deliver the perfect truck or van for your business anywhere in the country.
Our staff includes master technicians ensuring every one of our trucks goes through a rigorous inspection and reconditioning process. We also have a team of customization experts that can build the truck of your dreams, including custom tires, rims, bumpers, LED lights, and more. Come test drive every make and model in one location at our on-site towing and test course, or we can deliver an amazing truck directly to you.
Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com. That's harbortrucks.com.
Meet the water's lightest 25 horsepower four-stroke, the all-new Yamaha F25, the new standard and 25 horsepower portable four-strokes. At just 126 pounds, it's got the best power-to-weight ratio of any 25 horsepower four-stroke on the water. With performance that bests the previous Yamaha F25 and features like Yamaha's VTS for precise trolling speeds, batteryless EFI, built-in resting pads, and carry handles, it's the perfect portable power for small boats.
Welcome back. Here's a look at the FWC news and notes. July 28th is a women's saltwater fishing clinic in Panama City. August 1st is Wild About Florida in Brooksville, and August 4th is a scallop rodeo at St. Joseph Bay in Port St. Joe. But for more information, visit myfwc.com. Now let's head to the CCA workbench for some rigs and techniques.
Rodeo.
Man,
Brie.
if you can rope a scallop, you're a man.
Yeah. Well, Dave, here at the Academy
Screw that blue
Sports
marlin
and
fishing.
Outdoors,
That's hard stuff.
rigs and techniques. Every week we talk about stuff at the CCA workbench. So, you know, tonight is your thing, man.
I love blue marlin.
You know, so let's get into it.
Florida isn't the hottest blue marlin spot in the world by any stretch, but we have blue marlins here. There are places where you can get out there and catch them. Like Patty was saying, he started off tonight saying Destin is probably the very first one you'd start. That's where I would start, that Panhandle region, just for the same reasons he quoted. You got all those oil rigs out there, tons of tuna fish and stuff for them to eat. So that's where a lot of blue marlin hang out. Now the second place, probably the most people don't realize, but the 27 fathom curve off Jacksonville is a great place to catch them, because again, there's a bunch of tunas out there on the edge of the Gulf Stream, and it's a long ways they got to go. But because of that,
how far do they have to go, Dave?
60 miles.
Oh, that's not
60
bad.
miles. So yeah, it's not like going out where Patty has to go. They got to go, you know, at least 60 miles to start fishing. But also, you can go to Woods Wall off Key West. They just had a tournament down there. There's a bunch of them out there. Also in the Bahamas, you know, you can fish out of South Florida, Miami, and go to Bimini and get over there and get into them pretty good. And believe it or not, like Holiday was saying, the bonita schools outside of Jupiter Inlet and even Cape Canaveral, those big tuna schools, and when those shrimpers are in there, believe it or not, sometimes blue marlin will come in there and eat those bonita schools. And if you sit on those bonita schools all summer with a bonita out, you'll probably end up catching a blue marlin. Now, in Florida, one of the best ways to catch one, besides pulling lures, which we'll talk about in a minute, is using live baits when you're out there fishing for dolphin and stuff. A lot of guys catch them by accident when they're catching a dolphin. You know, they'll come up and eat a dolphin. Well, if you're out there fishing for dolphin on a nice weed line or something, the best thing to do is the first little dolphin you catch, put a big circle hook in his nose and let him out. And let him hang way back down in there. Because if there's a blue marlin around, if there's a bunch of little dolphins around, then there's a good chance there could be a blue marlin there, and he will come up and eat that little dolphin. I mean, that's a really good tip. If you're out there trying to, you know, stock the boat up with little dolphins, just make sure you put one out. Because not only will he catch a blue marlin, he'll also catch a big wahoo or just, you know, big shark or whatever. So make sure you put him out. Now, for most guys who, you know, aren't really great at the bait and switch method, which is a really good method to catch blue marlins, where you pull teasers and then pitch bait to them and free spool a bait to them when they eat it. If you're not good at that, which most fellas need some practice to be good at that, probably the best thing to do is to pull lures. Right. Because lures are pretty much, you're either going to hook them or you're not. It's an automatic thing. They come out of the clips and he's either on or he's not. And you know, you're pulling at a certain amount of drag, and you don't really have to mess with the drag that much. You don't have to worry about free spooling the bait back and that sort of thing, where you can get backlash and mess it up. And if you pull lures, like Patty again said, that wide range, that is a great lure for a novice person to pull. Not only because it catches everything in the ocean that swims, it goes straight as an arrow. You can pull it at any speed. at any sea state, even in big waves and going real fast. And that's why it's called a wide range. It works under a wide range of speeds and a wide range of sea conditions. Now, if it's flat calm, you know, you heard Holiday say a Kona head. Well, that's a Kona head lure, really a Kona head, because it's got a big cupped face on it and whatnot. And that thing is going to go down there and do this business. And if you're in a big rough sea or something, or you're going too fast, these things might come out of the water. And that's what you want your lures to do, is to stay in the water and go straight. You know, you want them to come up and pop and go in, pop and go in. And if you're cruising along at 8 knots, something's going to come up and give it a sniff.
So Dave, we got about a minute left. Why don't we talk a little bit about how guys now are using dredges to bring the fish up?
Well, you know,
in the
this is a big deal for a lot of the guys who are doing that bait and switch stuff. You're pulling a lot of teasers, and this, we're not going to let it out because it turns into a giant umbrella. But this is a mackerel teaser, and what you'll do is you'll have one of these on each side of the boat. Usually, they'll usually pull 2 of them, and what they'll do is they'll try to get a marlin to come up on one of these teasers, and then they'll pitch a bait out. Sometimes they'll have a bait already in the water and they'll wind it up to the teaser, or sometimes they'll just leave it there and wait for him to come. They'll pull the teasers out of the water, turn the boat a little bit, and try to get him to come up on the bait. And that's, you know, it's a great thing to do. It's the funnest way to catch a marlin. It just takes a little bit of extra effort. You know, you have to learn how to free spool, because I'll be honest with you, if a guy sees a blue marlin for the first time, his fingers stop working, his feet stop working. Right. You know, they freak out a lot. So
the only thing that is going on is a lot of yelling.
Exactly. So, you know, the lures are the best thing to do if you're not used to it and you really want to catch one.
All right, Bree.
Small hooks.
I can tell you're absorbing.
I am absorbing, and I've never seen you so quiet. Imagine that. Good job, Dave. You did a great job with marlin. You can find a lot of species in the Casa Vieja Southeast region, and Captain Jimbo Thomas is on the line to tell you how to find the marlin. So where do we even begin, Captain Thomas?
Well, Bree, and hello, Dave, and Rick. Well, you know, we would catch a lot more marlin here in the Southeast region if we actually fish for them. And right now is the time to target them. This time of the year, and there's also a lot of guys offshore looking for dolphin, and that's where these dolphin are getting hooked. But usually the guys out dolphin fishing, they're using a little bit lighter tackle that's intended for those mahis or some other species, and when that marlin hits, in most instances that marlin wins because nobody's ready for him. But to really target marlin and have a good chance at catching them, we like to use 50-pound or even 80-pound tackle. You want to use rigged horse ballyhoo, mackerel, mullet, or medium to large lures, and you want to have some pretty decent sized hooks, 9/0 to 12/0 extra strength hooks, and use 200 to 300 pound mono. You know, when we're dolphin fishing, we're using 50 or 60 pound leaders, and it doesn't work too good with the big marlin on the other end. And then when it comes to lures, there's also a lot of debate on which colors to use, but in my experience, it doesn't really matter. Those colors are made to catch the fishermen. Now, most of the marlin encountered are offshore in the blue water, anywhere from 500 feet on out. And when you're using natural baits, it's best to troll around 6 knots. And then if you're using lures, 8 to 10 knots or even faster. And then there's the occasional white marlin caught. And since they average in the 60 to 80 pound range, they can be handled on lighter tackle. And most of the whites that we catch are caught in the winter and the spring on trolled baits or live baits that are intended for sailfish. And aboard the Thomas Flyer, we average about 1 white marlin and 1 blue marlin a year off Miami, and then a couple in the Bahamas typically. And like I said, if we really fish for them, there'd be a lot more caught. Now, staying offshore, dolphin fishing remains good throughout the region. There's been schoolies of 4 to 8 pounds with a few larger fish mixed in anywhere from 10 to 20 miles offshore, and they've been around big patches of sargassum weed and scattered weed lines. Now, some of the fish are being caught on the troll, but most of the days that seaweed's been so bad it's been really tough to troll through. So what we've been doing is getting up in the tuna tower, spotting the fish, and then on the calmer days, you can see these dolphin pushing wakes up on the surface. And when you see that, get up there, pitch a small live bait or cut baits to them. So once we find them, they've been eating pretty good. And then what little bird activities there been has been mostly in the afternoons. We haven't really seen any birds in the mornings, but the afternoons we're starting to see some birds come on them. Now, I got a photo here, and this is some friends of mine from Gulfstream Fire Sprinklers with a nice catch that they had with us earlier in the week, and that's been kind of typical catch the last few days. Now, moving inshore, Bone fishing on the flats of Biscayne Bay has been really good first thing in the morning. You want to get out there before the water gets too hot on top of those flats. Look for the tailing bonefish on the inside and outside flats from Soldier's Key, South Angelfish Creek on the outgoing tide. And then after that water warms up, look for those fish on the deeper edges. They're going to go a little deeper. Look for cooler water. Look for them on the deeper edges of the flats over light-colored bottom. And then late in the afternoon or just after a rainstorm, when the water begins to cool down, those fish are coming back up on top of the flats, and best baits have been small crabs and crab pattern flies. And then the snook fishing is really starting to pick up throughout the southeast region. Those snook are starting to school up in the inlets, and they're also being caught around the piers and jetties, also the lit bridges and dock lights of the Intercoastal Waterway. Live pilchards, herrings, mullet, and croakers have been the best baits, but any good live bait should do the trick. They're also being caught on jigs and soft plastics. Now, if you're in the inlets, they've been biting the live baits drifted near the bottom on any tide, and when the water's been murky, they've been biting throughout the day, and then if the water's been really clear, it's the best bites been in the mornings and in the evenings. And then around the bridges and piers, the outgoing tide in the evening is when they're going to bite the best.
All right, thank you so much, Jimbo. Great report from the Casa Vieja Southeast region. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. Jimbo says inshore, hit the Biscayne Bay flats early in the morning before it gets too hot and look for those tailing bones. And then offshore, look for the dolphin offshore, around the grass patches, the floating debris, and any bird activity, Brie.
All right, Rick, we have to talk about CCA.
Okay.
So, Star had another tagged redfish caught, which means we're up to 17 so far with 2 winners and 15 unregistered anglers.
Guys.
What the heck? With the Pathfinder and Contender being chosen, there are still 6 great prizes for a tagged redfish winner to choose from. The Chuck Hughes Cottonmouth boat, plus 3 Carolina skiffs, with 2 being for youth winners, all powered by Yamaha. You still have over 1 month of fishing this summer, so get registered to win your share of $500,000 in prizes and scholarships. Star registration is open until September 3rd, so go to ccafloridastar.com. I mean, come on.
You know how you win the lottery? You buy a lottery ticket. You know how you win a star?
You get registered.
You just get registered. It's that simple. Come on.
I know. All right, we're getting in the thick of it with your Central West and Southeast regions next, as well as hearing what our special guest from Casa Vieja has to entice you with. So stay hooked, and we'll return on the Florida Insider Fishing Report shortly.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Swift, Silent, Secure, Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. The American Fishing Tackle Company, any fish, any water, since 1958. Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
As close as you're going to get to a sure thing for catching billfish is Guatemala.
They're here, man. This has been a 20-year run, buddy. These things haven't left. There's no cycle.
When it comes to sail fishing, this is the real deal.
The amount of sailfish here is ridiculous.
Harbor Trucks features the largest selection of new and pre-owned trucks in the country, an on-site towing and test course, and a team of truck specialists. Come line up every make and model in one location and find the truck of your dreams, or we'll build it custom for you. Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying, and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com or 2 miles off I-75 in Port Charlotte, Florida.
Well, I'd like to welcome my good friend and the owner of Casa Vieja Lodge, David Salazar. And David, you have one of the premium lodges in the world for bill fishing. You guys, tonight we're talking about marlin. You guys have a great marlin fishery. Seems to get better and better every year. So Dave, you know, first off, flying out of Florida is pretty easy to get to Guatemala, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. It's 3 direct flights out of Miami. Flies right into Guatemala City.
And then we got out of Orlando, I'm sure, too, right?
Actually, no. It's actually Fort Lauderdale has Spirit and Miami.
Okay. So, Dave, corporate retreats, or you guys put on corporate events. If a corporation wants to host some of their employees or some of their customers, what can they expect?
It's pretty much a full-service lodge. So, I mean, everything's pretty much taken care of. All their transportation, their meals, you know, obviously the fishing, everything. Basically, we set up a little meeting room for them so they can have their, you know, like continual education. Some of them have, and you know, basically whatever they need.
So, how many people can the lodge accommodate?
So, at the lodge we accommodate 36, and then we rent an off-site house. That's a real high-end house, and we can accommodate another 12, so it'll make it 48.
All right. So typically, the guys land. They're greeted at you guys at the airport.
Yep.
You drive down to the lodge. You get to the lodge and you have a little cocktail.
A little cocktail.
Cocktails, food, all of that. It's inclusive into the
everything. All your alcohol, even your laundry. Laundry's included.
Laundry.
Yeah. There's no nickel and dime.
So we have great food. We have hot food on some of the big sport fish boats. And let's talk a little bit about the boats and the type of fishing that we could potentially do. So we got sailfish.
Yep, a lot of sailfish.
Out of sport fishes.
A lot of mahi, a lot of tunas. And obviously our marlin. You know, our better season for the marlin is now.
Right.
So it'd be that May, June, July into August. You know, that's when we really get our blue marlin bite. We'll get up to 4 or 5 bites a day. Chris the other day got 7 out of 9 blues.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, that was pretty good.
So Dave, how many sport fish boats do we have?
We got, I think I'd know this, huh?
9?
8 sport fish boats and then 2 open fish.
2 contenders?
Yeah, the contenders.
So how many do we fish on the contenders?
We'd like to put 3 on the contenders and up to 5 on the bigger boats.
And then the bigger boats 5?
Yeah, the bigger boats 5.
Well,
because we run the captain and the 2 mates, that's why. It's a lot of people.
What about if people have questions, how can they find out more information on Casa Vieja?
On the website, it's full of information, and also just call the office, you know. We have all our staff there ready and willing to answer all questions.
And the 4 species that you target? Marlin?
Yep.
Sailfish? Dolphin? Tunas?
And yellowfins, yeah.
All right. Well, guys, I've been there many, many times, and I want you to know it's a trip and a place of a lifetime. So 5-star service, 5-star fishing, and a 5-star owner. I don't usually normally say that, Brie, but you're a 5-star co-host, so let's just keep this 5-star show running.
Oh, thanks, Rick. That was sweet. All right, let's check in with our StarTron Central West Region Captain, Jeff Page, to see just how far one will have to travel if they want to scream, "Got me, Marlin!" Tell us, Jeff.
You said it right, Bree. And, you know, in the StarTron Central West Region, we have a marlin fishery. Guys got to get out there 120 miles plus, which is pretty much the beginning of the steps. That's what they call it out there, where the water will drop off from 500-600 feet to 2,000 feet. Now, before you go out there, it's recommended maybe you do a little homework. I'm sure some guys have mentioned this. You can check out the Rogers chart or your Hilton chart. And what that's going to do is going to give you temperature breaks, color change breaks, and a lot of stuff you can kind of set up for before you head out there. Once you get out there, Captain Chris Seeger and Captain Dave Monda, both experienced blue water fishermen in our region, are telling me you're going to want to look for weed lines, look for birds, color changes, and one of the most popular lures that they troll out there is the black bart, and it's a numbered lure. It's a 1656. Other soft-headed lures work well too, and the trolling speed's around 5 to 8 knots. It's also recommended that you pull a squid chain teaser right behind the boat. Keep it tight to the transom, Captain Seeger says. All that being said, you're going to catch blue marlin, white marlin, and don't be surprised if you get a sailfish in the mix. Matter of fact, we just had round 1 of the Triple Crown Billfish Series. It was a cross-weight round, and it was won with a blue marlin caught off Bradenton by a team called Twisted Bills, and I've got a photo of of the team with their awards and with one of the blue marlins they caught.
Cool. All right, what else
All
you
right.
got for us in the Startron region, Bubba?
Permit. Strong afternoon outgoing tides all week, Rick. The light west winds are starting to back off some. It's been a good crab flush on these afternoon outgoing tides. A lot of rain. So the permits have moved in a little closer. And that being said, 6 to 7 miles off Anna Maria, south of Sarasota, holding on artificial reefs and wrecks. Captain Jason Stock has been averaging 6 to 16 bites a trip. He's been tagging a lot of the permits and releasing them. The key, Rick, he's been getting set up in front of the structure, free-lining his crabs back behind his boat, using either an anchor or a spot lock to keep him in position. And I've got a nice photo tonight of a permit caught by Captain Josh Pruner of Rippin' Lips Charters. Moving inshore, species 1, redfish. With August approaching, look for the groups of redfish to begin to show up in better numbers throughout our entire region, starting down south along the east side of Charlotte Harbor, from Burnt Store Marina, north of Pirate Harbor. The fish should be showing up on the high tides inside the bar, closer to the shoreline, and then on the lower tides on the outside of the bar. Live thin fish under a cork or cut ladyfish on the bottom work real well. It's tough to beat a quarter-ounce weedless gold spoon if you're into throwing artificials. To the north, there's been a few different groups of fish around the Long Bar Point area in Sarasota Bay, as well as the oyster bars in Terracea and Palmasola Bay. Soft plastics like the Saltwater Assassin Golden Brim rigged on a quarter-ounce jig head have been getting the job done. Got a photo tonight of a bunch of happy kids with a big redfish they got with Captain Brian Marcy of Breakwater Charters out of Sarasota. Finally, speckled trout. Cool thing about this time of year, Rick, is you can catch a lot of speckled trout out in the deeper grass flats where all the fry bait is schooled up. Don't be surprised if you get a mixed bag of Spanish mackerel, bluefish, ladyfish, jacks, even a big school of redfish mixed in. Find the birds hovering over the feeding frenzy. Sometimes you're not going to see it busting the top of the water, but if they're hovering over it, they're on top of it. So you're going to want to set up a drift. You can cast downwind with surface plugs or soft plastics like Saltwater Assassin Houdini sea shad rigged on a quarter-ounce silver or chartreuse jig head. And you can also cast free-line pinfish or filters. Some of the areas of the deep grass flats in Charlotte Harbor off Cape Hayes Point, or the grass flats in the middle of North Sarasota Bay. My final photo, a happy client, the nice trout he got with Captain Will Osborne, Cortez, Florida.
Thank you so much, Captain Page. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Daiquiri Deck Central West region hotspots, offshore gag groupers, decent gag bite in 45 to 65 feet of water over the ledges, and the smaller hard bottom areas off of Bradenton Beach, and then inshore mangrove snappers. Nice keeper-sized mangs holding on the Skyway Bridge and the artificial reefs in South Tampa Bay, Brie.
Okay, Rick. Captain Tommy Derringer in the Strike Zone Northeast region is now up with us, FaceTiming. Hey there, Mr. Tommy.
What's up, guys?
Tommy.
Hey, Brie, I heard you say it earlier, and every time I hear the word Marlin, I always hear that quote.
I know.
Got me a Marlin.
Got me a Marlin, which is from Austin Powers, and you actually said it first. So
I got Dr. Evil. I got
credit.
But, hey, guys, we have a world-class...
I'm so lost in y'all's thing. I just want you to know that.
Guys, we've got a world-class Marlin fishery here in the Strike Zone Northeast region. Probably the best times of year to catch these fish. It's going to be mid-April through about mid-June, although you can catch them any time of the year. Now, they really seem to like the water temperature to be somewhere in the upper 70s to maybe the low 80s. Now, I spoke with one of our resident Marlin experts, Captain Jason Hadges from jhookfishingcharters.com, and he tells me that he catches most of his Marlin in the Gulf Stream in the spring, like I was talking about, but he's looking for weed lines, temperature breaks, and current edges when he's out there. Now, the bonus in my region is that you do tend to catch some really big mahi as a bycatch because you're using bigger baits and lures when you're searching for the Marlin that time of year. Now, Jason said if you're looking to catch a Marlin right now, you're probably going to want to be closer to the east side of the Gulf Stream. And he said if you were going to get out there, you probably want to start about 75 miles out and then head east. You're going to troll a variety of lures, especially those in a mahi color pattern around 8 to 10 knots. That's probably going to be one of the more popular ways to catch them here. But Jason said he's also going to drag a horse ballyhoo, big Spanish mackerels, and other dead baits in that 6 to 8 knot range. Now, one little thing that Jason told me that historically for him, he's had his best marlin bite a few days before that full moon. Now, also offshore, we've got a great kingfish bite happening throughout the region right now. This past weekend, they held the Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament, and I spoke with the tournament chairman, Steve Thompson. Now, Steve told me they had 275 boats in the tournament this year. The fishing was great, even though we did have some pretty tough, windy, bumpy conditions. The winning big fish was 46.5 pounds. That just narrowly beat out second place, which was 44.95 pounds, so pretty close there. And a lot of the bigger fish were caught along the beach and at the rip at all the area inlets, slow trolling pogies. Although Steve did tell me that quite a few good fish were caught in 100-foot and deeper as well. Now there's still quite a few kingfish on the nearshore wrecks and reefs. 9 Mile out of St. Augustine, it's been productive. Quite a few fish in the teens and the low 20s right now. Looks like the beach fishing is probably where the big ones are going to be hanging out at the moment. So stay close this week if you're going to get out there and maybe get a smoker. And speaking of smokers, I've got a picture here. This is the winning team from the Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament, Team Fountain with their big fish. That won them a new contender boat valued at like $86,000. So that's a great win. Congratulations on that one, fellas. Now moving inshore, we've got that tide again. The top water tide, that is, the small finger mullet. They've been showing up in really big numbers this week across the region, and the redfish have been feeding on those mullet big time. When those finger mullets show up, that's prime time to break out that Rapala skitter walk or the skitter bee. The tide's going to be fairly high first thing in the morning this weekend. That's going to be a perfect time to toss one of those plugs. Now, I'm going to be looking for schools of those mullet, those little ones, along the grass edges. That's where you're going to be tossing those topwaters. That's where you're going to want to toss them. Once the sun comes up a bit, you can switch it to a subsurface plug. Now, I've been using the new smaller Rapala twitching mullet in the mangrove minnow and mullet colors. Now, it looks exactly like those small mullet that are swimming around right now. Now, of course, a live or a cut mullet's been working as well. Now, again, whether it's live bait or if you're tossing a lure, finding that concentration of bait is going to be key throughout the entire region. And I've got a photo here. This is a nice redfish that Chris Wilson caught with me on the HPX earlier this week. He was tossing that new Rapala twitch and mullet subsurface plug. Now, also inshore, the tarpon bite has been really good this week. It's actually been good for a few weeks now throughout the region. The bigger beach fish, they're tearing through the pogie pods first thing in the morning. The schools of pogies, they've been moving around a little bit, so you might need to get out there and look around for them, but if you stay in that 10 to 30 foot range of water just along the beach or just outside the inlets, you're probably going to find some pogies and also those big tarpon. Now, the small tarpon, they're thick inshore as well. The residential canals in Flagler, Ormond, and Palm Coast, they're loaded up with those 10 to 20 pound tarpon. A free line live shrimp or finger mullet's been working really well. But also a small soft plastic paddle tail like the Saltwater Assassin Elite Shiner. Just watch for rolling fish and get your bait a couple of feet in front of them. And if you're using that soft plastic, it's real easy, just make a really slow, steady retrieve. And I've got one last picture here. This is Captain James Canellis with a nice little canal tarpon that he caught earlier this week. And he caught that one on the fly rod.
All right, Tommy. They're lucky to have you as their guide. Thank you. Yep. What a great report. And we'll talk to you next week. Bye. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Northeast region. Offshore, kingfish along the beaches throughout the region, as well as the nearshore reefs. Inshore, tarpon in the pogie pods along the beach from St. Augustine all the way up to Fernandina, all the way to Georgia.
All the way. All right, we're bringing you a little Southwest region and new product action when we return. So, Dave, what should we be excited about when we come back?
We've got stuff that you can't even get yet. That's how new it is.
Shoot.
Not until September.
We got the new stuff.
But you're going to know. You're going to know to go get it.
Shiny things. We'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. For all, for less. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. Soft Science, Supreme Comfort Footwear. Real Legends, exclusively at Bell's. And Maverick Boat Group, makers of premium boat brands Maverick, Hughes, and Pathfinder.
Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 offshore 4-strokes. For those that like their V6 lighter, faster, and stronger. Setting new standards for power, efficiency, speed, and lightweight. Built for the rigors of offshore boating. Packed with Yamaha's legendary reliability. And now Yamaha's 4.2-liter V6 4-strokes offer a choice between digital or mechanical controls to match your rigging preference. Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Yeah? Stop working right now! Look outside. Is this spreadsheet weather? No, it's not. This is fishing weather. So stop clicking, get out there, and catch a bass. Stop what you're doing and start fishing Rapala Ripstop.
This is Academy Sports and Outdoors. We offer a huge sports and outdoors selection of top name brand gear like you've never seen. All at low prices like you've never seen. Because we're a sports and outdoor store like you've never seen. Visit us in store or at academy.com for the guaranteed lowest prices. Academy Sports and Outdoors, for all for less.
So we're here at the CCA Workbench, and Dave,
Yes, sir.
you know what new products? It's my favorite.
We got some cool stuff. First, it's Marlin Day, so we got a really nice shirt from Guy Harvey. This is the Marlin Pro UVX long sleeve shirt. You know,
somebody who knows a little bit about a
my
blue
stuff's
Marlin.
falling. Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, we got UPF 30 microbial. Yeah, microbial. That's it. It won't.
Thank you, Brie.
Thank you. It won't stink on you. Supposedly, I've been able to stink out most of them. I'll tell you. Really nice. You know what obviously sets these shirts apart is the Guy Harvey art. It's got a beautiful blue Marlin on the back. It's got a nice logo on the front, but it's got the Marlin print that stretches down both sleeves and across the front. You know, really nice Marlin skin. Just really nice shirt. You could wear that anywhere.
What size is this?
That's a large. You can have that one.
Oh.
I don't think I could squeeze into it.
It's going to Ricky's house.
There you go. Why not? All right, next we have, these are from Patrick Sabile. These are called a dart spin. And Patrick, he started a new company called the Band of Anglers. And this is one of their first new products. And it won't even be out till September, but you could probably go check them out pretty soon when that bandofanglers.com gets up and running. But these are made from a hyperlight plastic. And it's got that spinner is molded in, so it's not coming out of there. Those things are really, really strong. Now you can see it's got the pre-molded grooves and stuff for either a jig head and or a swimming lure, a swim bait hook.
Right.
And you know, and that spinner's not coming out of there either because it's also molded in. They come with 5 sizes from 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 7, and a big one, 9.5 inches.
Have you fished it yet, Dave?
Yes, I have. We've been catching a lot of bass and peacock bass on it. I haven't thrown it in saltwater. It looks beautiful.
So it's just a straight reel, like a normal.
You can
swim
reel
bait?
it straight, or just letting it sit, just letting it drop. It'll just and that tail.
I mean, because it's so different. I don't even know how
It's very
to
different, and
make it jubilate.
Oh, it jubilates on its own. I mean, you can jerk it, or you can just pull it, you know, straight, and it works either way. These are some fish bite surf rigs. You know, we do a lot of pompano whiting fishing here in the surf here in Florida, and fish bites came out. They've been making the bait for a long time, and these are some of their surf rigs. They come with the little beads, either a float bead or, you know, they're just regular attractors. 20-pound fluorocarbon. They got the good loop on the bottom, so you can change your weights out. You know, you don't have to worry about tying the weight on. You just loop it through and change them out if the conditions change. Just really, and you can put the fish bites on them. I use these a lot when I go surf fishing. If you can't get any sand fleas, these things work just as good as a shrimp. I'll be honest with you. They work just as good as a shrimp, and they don't come off.
Bub, when I used to guide at Walker's, I would tip all my bucktails with these.
It's
it was
amazing.
Crazy.
It is amazing, and Patty Boy's seen me catch fish after fish with a little jig and that on it. So the fish bites is really good stuff. This is a really cool thing from Live Target. It's their new bait ball spinner, and it's kind of like a little, you know, a little dredge swimming along, but it's got a nice big hook in the bottom one there. It mimics a small cluster of fleeing bait fish. It's got 3 different wireframe sizes. I think that's a medium there. With all that flash and the little vibrations from these tails and that willow blade, it really kicks up a ruckus. And it's got this interchangeable system. You can change this bottom lure out easy. And
does it come with additional bodies?
You can actually buy little bodies for it, extra ones if you want. 8 colors from 1/4 all the way up to 3/4 ounce. They get big. He makes a great big one, and I've caught some big bass on that thing.
This one going home too.
Well, that's a beautiful thing too.
Thank you. What else you have for
the
me?
last
Christmas
but not,
in July.
Yeah, last but not least, here we've got some Terminator titanium buzz baits. You know, I love using buzz baits because they're cruising along the top and they get ferocious bites usually. Those are perfect running right out of the package. They're, you know, titanium. They got that snapback, really good frame on it that it'll bounce off stuff really good. The upturned nose keeps it from digging in, and it's got a really long shank hook on it, so those short biters you're going to get them. So it makes a huge splash when you're pulling it through the water too. It attracts everything.
You know what? I am so glad that you really earned your money tonight between the rigs and techniques and new products. You had to work hard tonight.
Yes, you did, Rick, and you're just cleaning up over there. It's Christmas in July for sure. All right, the Bell Southwest region is now up with your Captain Ron Houston. So, Ronnie, tell us what the latest and greatest is.
Well, obviously, marlin's not common in the region, but, you know, the permit bite on the offshore side, despite the west winds we've had in the last week, winds should be going to the east, southeast, and improving. The permit bite remains to be very consistent with moderate weather from Marco to Fort Myers Beach. You want to concentrate from 5 to 20 miles out, concentrating on wrecks and artificial reefs by anchoring up or drifting in and around the structure. Now, some reports I have just gotten with the change of the weather have the fish schooled up, and some of the other areas the fish are scattered. You can free line live crabs or add some weight to get them down in the water column. Also, with our schools, bright colored bucktails are working in pink, orange, and yellow. The schooled up fish seem to be very aggressive, and they are hitting the artificials, but nothing beats having a couple, you know, lot crabs. Fish still up to 35 pounds being caught, and I got a fish that was just caught down in the southern end of the region by fishing within 5 to 20 miles out. Now, still on the offshore side, the red groupers. Marco south and west, depths have been about 35 to 50 feet. That's probably the best stable moderate weather bite we have right now. Fishing hard bottom, and then Naples north to Sanibel, depths have been around 65 to 80 feet, according to Captain Steve, of the Misbehaving out of Naples. Now, both reports I've gotten are cut baits like squid, herring, and sardines have been working great, but the live bait like the herring and the sardines have been catching bigger fish. But to the south, shallower depths, white bucktails with squid and glowworms have been working well. You can drift to locate them and then anchor up. Look for fish on your bottom finder, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you're starting to catch a bunch of small fish, guys, just continue to move on until you start getting the bigger fish. Now, on the inshore side, the snook. The east side of Charlotte Harbor and the southern end of Pine Island Sound, according to Captain Danny Latham. But Captain Steve on the Misbehaving says the nearshore wrecks out of Naples are also holding big snook. Now, Captain Danny says the higher stages of the tide along independent islands and points along long sections of shorelines have been great if there's good water movement. When the tide's slack, forget about it, the bite turns off. Key baits have been chumming live pilchards as well as 50-cent pea-sized pinfish, also topwater plugs and bone or chartreuse, as well as subsurface hard baits in white, olive, and chrome in color. And I got a picture up to the north, well, fishing with Captain Danny Latham, and then another fish to the south while fishing with Captain Steve on one of the nearshore wrecks out of Naples. Still on the inshore side, the redfish. Captain Bill Faulkner reports the Biddle Bays from Pumpkin Bay to Barron River have been holding good redfish on the higher stages of the tide. He believes with the heat along deeper points. Now, you can power pole down and blind cast the area with some soft plastic like the Bass Assassin paddle tails in dark colors due to the tannic water. or soft-sunted artificial shrimp on lower stages. And what you want to do on the lower stages, pole areas of schools of mullet or shorelines that are consistent with oyster bottom. Water will remain clean along those edges, and the fish can be side casted with flies or brown, yellow, and black bucktails. And I got a prime example of a nice redfish caught while fishing with Captain Bill Faulkner by Dr. Mike Mensch from the southern end. Weather should be improving, guys. Not as bad as last week. Easterly and southerly winds. Get out and get you some fishing done this weekend.
So, Ronnie, I got a question for you. You know, for about 15 weeks now, you've had the Sirius XM Marine loaded into your bay boat. Obviously, rain, thunderstorms, wind of west directions. How are you enjoying that?
Well, you know what? I enjoy it a lot because I'll tell you what, a lot of tools we play with on this show, I'll agree with you on some and I'll disagree with you on others, but I'll tell you what, probably the best tool I've had in the last 5 years that I've been doing this show, Rick, is the Sirius weather. It just totally changes the way you do things. It gives you a game plan in the morning. You can watch the weather when it's coming. You can get around it. You can just totally plan your day, keep yourself safe, keep your customers safe. I can't wait till this winter and work that thing with the barometric pressure in front and see how it really works well and turns on the bite.
Well, I can't wait. I learned a new trick just the other day with it on manipulating the water temps, and then it shows me in the sea surface mode of where all the hot spots are right there where we are fishing, as well as out in the Gulf. So in the winter, it's going to be a great tool for us to use. I can't wait to share that with you. Great report tonight. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Calusa cast net hotspots from the southwest region. Offshore mangrove snappers, Naples to Sanibel, 8 to 20 miles out, fishing ledges, wrecks, and artificial reefs. Chumming is the key to get the fish going. And then inshore, tarpon, rabbit key to bush key points and passes on the lower stage of the tide using topwater plugs, 4 to 6 inch swim baits or cut baits on the bottom, Brie.
All right, Rick, we're headed to the Keys and Northwest regions next here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. But before we take a short break, we want to remind you, if you want to keep up with everything fishing in Florida, visit our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, watch us on YouTube, and view and tag us on Instagram. We will be right back with your captains.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Startron. Cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Yeti, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Strike Zone Fishing, your fish hunt paddle store. And Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist.
Real Legends Performance Clothing. Everything you need to be comfortable on the water all day long. Keeps you cool, dry, and protected from the sun. Durable performance technology at an unbeatable value. Shop anytime or go to reallegends.com to find a Bell store near you.
Flagler Construction Equipment is your certified Volvo equipment dealer, servicing 55 counties in Florida. With Volvo, you get brute strength combined with bulletproof durability. That means low downtime and optimal production. Flagler Construction Equipment is the partner for all your Volvo sales, service, and rental needs, and your first and last stop for legendary customer service and support. Push boundaries with Volvo. Get to know Flagler Construction Equipment by stopping by one of our 6 locations, or visit us on the web at www.flaglerce.com.
So we're here at Harbor Trucks, and Chris, you know, the Titan's got a lot of engine options. Why don't we go through the list? Tell me about it.
Well, we offer our V8 gas, which has shown some enhancements for this new model year, but it's typically the same thing. And then we have the all-new 5-liter V8 Cummins diesel.
All right, so the Cummins diesel comes in a variety of different truck sizes. Tell me about the Titan sizes.
Well, we offer our regular half-ton Titan, and then we have the Titan XD gas and the Titan XD diesel.
All right, so what does that mean, XD?
It is what we would call half-ton plus.
Okay.
Tow ratings are a little bit higher than what you'd see out of a half-ton truck. Frame's a little more rigid. It's a little bit of a larger truck as well.
So how many horsepower do we have typically out of a stock Cummins?
It is 310 horsepower and 555 foot-pounds.
Now, if we want to enhance that, what do you guys offer here at Harbor Trucks?
We offer tuning services that will bring the horsepower levels up to 501.
501 horsepower.
Yes, sir.
That's significant. What about, how much does that increase our torque?
Just over 900.
That's some serious towing capacity. Now, you've got customers that have been using the Cummins Titan, so why don't you tell me about some of their experiences?
Well, the first one that comes to mind, I actually have a customer that tows his, I believe, I don't want to speak out, a 15-horse trailer.
Wow, so what do you have any idea what that weighs?
I believe he had to install airbags to the vehicle, so I'm sure it is above our 12.5 towing capacity, but he has had 0 problems out of the vehicle so far.
Wow, that's really awesome. So guys, if you have any questions for Chris, you can go to Harbor Trucks Facebook page or go to harbortrucks.com.
I know you got something to say, so say it.
So Brie, you know my friend Mike Avanon, he was
Yes.
here a few weeks ago, has a Titan XD with the Cummins diesel, and he tows his 32 contender all over the place. He flips it in the tow haul, really ready to go. What I like about it is my old vehicle that I used to have, towing my Pathfinder, I was getting 8 miles to the gallon at 70 miles an hour. Now, at a little faster than 70, in my Titan, I'm getting 15 miles to the gallon, almost double. So how do you argue that?
You can't. You
know.
just can't argue that.
No.
So speaking of, how would you like to win a Nissan Titan from Harbor Trucks? Well, the Harbor Trucks giveaway is making it easy, and all you have to do is go to their Facebook page, like it, mark going to an event, and tag a friend. But there are so many more ways to enter until the end of December, so head on over to harbortrucks.com for more information, and good luck.
I'm going to be drawing January 5th.
Good to know. All right,
Yep.
now
Let's
let's
go,
head
guys.
to the Keys where Captain Randy Tao has got offshore and inshore goods for us this weekend. Let's hear it, Randy.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, when we talk about marlin, we have blue marlin and white marlin in the Keys, but it's not something we're usually targeting, and we do catch white marlin, for example, offshore in 600 feet. There's a lot of uneven bottom between Islamorada and Marathon. And then we have the humps, which you hear everybody talk about for the tuna fishing, the Islamorada hump, the 409 hump, the Duck Key humps, the West hump. And these areas yield some white marlin at times. I've caught a number of white marlin around those areas. And it really happens when you're fishing for something else. You got your ballyhoos out, you're trying to catch a dolphin, or you're trying to catch a tuna, and here comes a marlin, and the next thing you know, you got them on. Now, the blue marlin, the same thing. You know, you can catch a blue marlin anywhere, especially this time of year when you've got a lot of small dolphin around. You get into a school of dolphin, small fish, schoolies we call them, and all of a sudden, Blue Jean swims up, and he's trying to eat the dolphin you have on. Now, if you're prepared and you've got a rod ready, and you hook one of those small dolphin on, drop it in the water, chances are he's going to eat it, and you're going to catch that blue marlin. That happens a lot. It doesn't happen to me. It happens to other people because I've seen the pictures and I've heard the stories. But I've got a photo from Captain Scott Stanzik. He runs the Catch 22 out of Bud and Mary's Marina. The other day, this scenario plays out just like it would be. And this is a 150-pound blue marlin they caught dolphin fishing, and they released it very nicely.
Blue Jean, huh?
Blue Jean. Okay, Daddy, let's talk about blue-green Jean.
Blue Jeans. You know, the dolphin bite, we're still talking about dolphin. Here it is almost the middle of, end of July, actually. And the dolphin fishing has gotten really good, and they're big ones. From 400 feet on out, and the key has been the birds. You've got to read the birds and understand what they're doing. And when you see the birds flying, they're there because the dolphin are pushing the flying fish up to the surface. So when the dolphin pushes the bait to the surface, the bird flies down. He tries to get that flying fish before it goes back in the water for the dolphin. So those birds are working, and it's really important to understand what they're doing. So that's what's going on in that scenario. Now, the fewer birds that you have in that scenario are probably bigger fish pushing up less bait, and that's how you're going to find your big dolphin. And some of the dolphin I've been seeing from these guys are in the 40-pound range right now, and there's been no shortage of them. But I've got a photo of Captain James Simsick with Spear Crazy Charters and Marathon with his son Isaac, who weighs 26 pounds, and this was his 26-pound dolphin he caught.
Pound for pound. There you go. Love it.
Randy, thank you. That's a great picture. Let's go inshore, bub. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah. You know, the trout bite has been pretty good. I don't think guys are really targeting trout, but they're showing up in some of the snook spots and the redfish spots that we like to fish this time of year, and they've been good size. You know, for us, an 18 or 20-inch trout is a nice trout, and it seems like when they show up, they're nice, and when they're not around, they are not anywhere to be found. But a lot of guys have been getting into them. A quarter-ounce jig tipped with a bait, like a pilchard or a small pitfish, has been working good. And always a popping cork, something like that, will get their attention as well. But the backcountry has had some really nice trout around it, around the beaches, around some of the channels in front of Flamingo. And one guy in particular who seems like he catches everything. I talk about him a lot. Captain Brian Williams happened to send me this picture of a real nice trout they caught the other day. He's with Serenity Charters out of Angler's House in Islamorada. But he said they caught 20 of these big trout the other day in the backcountry.
That's awesome. He's a great fisherman. All right, what else you got, Randy?
You know, this time of year, the bone fishing is really good, and it depends where you want to fish. Now, the nice thing about the Keys, there's 110 miles of places you could go do this. And some of the guys like to trailer to the lower Keys and fish that backcountry down there. And there's some really good flats and bone fishing down that way. We have them in Islamorada. But the key is timing. You've got to be at the right place on the flat at the right time, and that's usually an incoming tide. And remember, an incoming tide in Islamorada is not the same in the lower Keys. You're talking about Gulf, you're talking about Atlantic. But that low rising water is what really seems to be what the bonefish like lately. And, you know, a small crab or a fly rod with a crab pattern has been working really well. And I've got a photo from the young Connor Ross with his buddy Jace Comanzo with a pair of bonefish they caught in the lower Keys the other day on fly.
Cool
That's
photo.
awesome. Good job, boys. Stay out there fishing. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Florida Keys region. Randy says that inshore, trout fish the beaches and points from Cape Sable north on the incoming tide, and then offshore, dolphins start looking for them in 400 feet for the birds and weed lines. Focus on the birds for holding the bigger fish.
All right, Rick, let's check out some of the tournaments going on in the Florida Keys. What do you think?
I'm ready.
All right. The Reef Lionfish Derby is set for September 14th to the 16th in Key Largo. This tournament is geared to divers, and prizes will be awarded on a team basis. The Herman Lucerne Memorial Backcountry Fishing Championship is set for September 21st through the 23rd, based in Islamorada. Anglers are to target 7 species during this tournament, staged within the boundaries of Everglades National Park. The Take Stock in Children Backcountry Challenge is scheduled for September 28th through the 30th in Key Largo. Anglers will focus on species including trout, snook, and redfish while raising funds for local student scholarships. The Islamorada Fall All-Tackle Bonefish and Permit Championship is scheduled for October 7th through the 10th. The tournament is approaching its 50th anniversary. October already?
I know.
Whew.
What?
All right, this is going way too fast. And now let's check in with Andy Newman to see what tournaments he's featuring this week.
Well, hi guys. The 2018 Key West Fishing Tournament comes to an end August 31st. The 8-month-long competition features free entry, and that's whether you fish from a boat, land, or bridge. All entrants receive a certificate noting their catch or release. More details at KeyWestFishingTournament.com, and for more details on other angling contests in the Florida Keys, go to FLAKeys.com.
Thank you very much, Andy. Now let's jump into the Flagler Construction Northwest region with Captain Jeff to see what his haggalicious self has to say about your weekend fishing fun in the sun.
What you got?
Well, we've got Marlin. You're just going to have to make a run to go get them. I'm talking about 150-plus miles at minimum. Most of the guys that are doing it on an overnight trip just to make it worthwhile and going out there and fishing for a few days and coming back in. We do have some great bill fishing out there, and we've actually got tournaments that are focused on blue marlin and swordfish and sailfish. So we've got some great fishing out here. Actually, next week I got Captain Mike Anderson filling in for me because I'm going to be in one of the tournaments out of Sarasota fishing the Blue Marlin tournament. So we've got them. It's just you're going to have to make a run to go get them. All the stuff that everybody's been talking about works on my coast too. Trolling, soft heads, islanders, blue and white, purple and black are some of the favorites. Naked ballyhoo or skirted ballyhoo, the jumbo ones work well. A wired Spanish mackerel. As far as live bait goes, it's hard to beat a bonita or skipjack tuna. Those have been great live baits. Moving offshore with the rest of my offshore report, the gag grouper bite seems to be going really good throughout the entire region right now, from shallow to deep water, coming throughout the region, getting good reports of lots of good fish. You want to look for rock piles and ledges anywhere from 70 to 180 feet. And I'm sorry I can't get more pinpointed with the depth because the fish, we've been getting a lot of reports of shallow water fish and some good reports of some deep water fish. So that 70, 80 foot's been kind of an average where they've been with some good keeper size fish. Heavy leader, 80 to 125 pound fluorocarbon leader, a 6/0 to 9/0 VMC circle hook, 6 to 10 ounces of lead depending on your current and your depth you're fishing. On a standard bottom rig, pinfish and grunts for live bait. As far as dead baits go, a whole smaller octopus or Boston mackerel have been working really well.
Tell me about the redfish, Bubba.
I got a lot of redfish reports. Starting in the lower part of my region from St. Pete to Hudson, including Tampa Bay, fish are biting really good right now on the incoming tide and the beginning of the outgoing tide. You want to fish around mangrove shorelines that have good overhanging mangroves. I mean, you want that shade in there. So anywhere a fish can get up underneath and get out of the heat and get into that shade is a good place. If there's an oyster bar close to that, that's a plus too. Pinfish, ladyfish, or mullet all cut bait, and you want to get that bait right on the shadow line or up into the mangrove, into the shadow. Moving up the coast, Captain Mario Costello of Tall Tiro Charters out of the Plantation Inn on Crystal River reports the redfish bite right now has been around the Mangrove Islands and Keys from Yankeetown to Crystal River. He's specifically looking for large schools of mullet, and locating the mullet has been the best bet to find redfish right now. He's been using live pinfish, free-lined on a 3/0 circle hook in the middle of the in the middle of the incoming tide. The redfish have been anywhere from 20 to 25 inches. Moving north up the coast, Captain Jimbo Key, the saltwater assassin fishing charters from Cedar Key, reports with the crazy weather he's been having right now, the redfish are chewing. Cut mullet, fished on the bottom, still working great around shell points and oyster bars. Moving up to the very north part of my region, Captain John Lane of Captain JB Charters out of Apalachicola reports a good redfish bite right now along the passes and oyster bars around the islands. Using 18 inches of fluorocarbon leader, a 3/4 ounce egg sinker with a 2/0 circle hook, and he's using live pinfish. I've got a few good pictures of some nice redfish caught by our captains.
Nice. Good job. All right, what about the trout bite? How's it going?
Trout bite from Hudson to Clearwater has been really good right now. It's been a little deeper than usual with the warmer weather we've been having. You want to look for fish in that 5 to 7 feet of water over the turtle grass. Popping corks with a small pinfish. Pop that cork pretty hard. You want to have about 4 feet a leader. Get those trout looking up. That's a good way to catch them right now. Also, 1/4 ounce jig head to 3/4 ounce jig head, and chicken on a chain turbo shad on those jig heads are working really well right now. Moving up the coast, Captain Jimbo Keith, the saltwater assassin fishing charters out of Cedar Key, reports the trout bite has been pretty solid right now. He says the grass flats with the broken ledges seem to be producing some keeper fish. A B52 rattling cork with a saltwater assassin sea shad tail is his go-to bait, and I got a nice picture that Jimbo turned into me this last week.
All right, thank you so much, Hag. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Northwest region. He says inshore snook along the beaches and passes use pinfish and grunts, drifted on the outgoing tide. And then offshore, mangrove snappers on the high relief structure from 15 to 60 feet of water. Use small pinfish and cut sardines as bait, Brie.
Hags fishing in a Marlin tournament?
Yeah,
what? That's crazy.
Yeah, that boy took a job on a big boat.
I guess so. Well, this happens every show where I don't know how we got here so fast, but we only have one more captain left in the Central East region to give us his report. I guess we just have too much fun here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report.
We certainly do.
We'll be back.
Bye.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Harbor Trucks. Visit harbortrucks.com. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Suffix. Always use the best line. The IGFA. Fish for the future. Flagler Construction Equipment. Your exclusive Volvo dealer. And Okuma. Inspired fishing.
When you're moving a big offshore boat, it's all about thrust and trust. For thrust, nothing compares to the Yamaha purpose-built 5.3-liter V8 Power Pioneer. And for trust, Yamaha's new F350C model becomes the only outboard in its horsepower class to feature a 5-year limited warranty. Never settle for less than complete confidence and control in the open water. That's Yamaha V8 Power. Get the best and forget the rest.
Outside is a bully. There are bears, screaming fleet-footed waters, arrogant mountains, Goliaths, 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 and 100 other excuses to stay inside. But there are ways to deal with bullies.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Hi, this is Chris Freeland of Harbor Trucks, and my family has been in the business for over 70 years, and I hope that means as much to you as it does to us. Trucks have always been my passion, and I've assembled a team of experts to help find the right truck for you.
Harbor Trucks also has a dedicated commercial department that can design and deliver the perfect truck or van for your business anywhere in the country.
Our staff includes master technicians ensuring every one of our trucks goes through a rigorous inspection and reconditioning process. We also have a team of customization experts that can build the truck of your dreams, including custom tires, rims, bumpers, LED lights, and more. Come test drive every make and model in one location at our on-site towing and test course, or we can deliver an amazing truck directly to you.
Harbor Trucks, hassle-free buying and low, low, low prices. Check us out now at harbortrucks.com. That's harbortrucks.com.
Today's Power Pole tip of the week is about using my duals and having a great wide footprint. Now let me explain a little further. Now by using the power pole mounting brackets and the 10-foot blades, once we've installed those to our jack plate, it gives us an angle when the blades are deployed that actually takes the spike and put it on the outside perimeter of the side of the boat. Now what this does is it gives me a great stable footprint. The bow doesn't swing to the left or to the right. And the reason why that's so very important for me is that I can, one, come to a complete stop in a very short period of time, but I also am not going to move the angle or the presentation of the cast that I might want to make to the shoreline or to an oyster bar, or even more importantly, a big school of redfish. So keep that in mind, that wider is better when you're thinking about your shallow water anchor, and that's today's Power Pole tip of the week. You know, by having duals and they go out at an angle like this, it keeps the boat more stable.
Wider.
Wider's better, exactly.
You set it off.
Let's go.
All right, let's see what this week's offering in the Bell's Central East region is with Captain Jim Ross. Let's make it good, Jim.
Well, you know, Rick, those things are acting like outriggers for you, so that's why it's keeping it more stable from when you run from side to side in the boat. Speaking of running from side to side, we run to the eastern side of the Gulf Stream most of the times when we're catching our marlin. Most of the guys are catching marlin when they're targeting yellowfin tuna, and 75 to 100 miles seems to be the average that everybody's running lately. But there's some blue marlin that are showing up in there. We do have some white marlin a little earlier in the season that do run in with the blue marlin, but most of the time that's a late spring type of a thing. Most of those fish now have migrated onto the north, but we still have some blues around. Most of the time our guys are targeting marlin with a large plug, 10 to 14 inches, sometimes even bigger, but most of the time our marlin aren't all that big, so something just slightly larger than what you'd use for dolphin, and troll it just a little bit faster, 6 to 10 knots. Most of our marlin, like I was saying, are small, 100 to 200 pound class fish out of Canaveral. So, you will find one that's a little bigger once in a while, but most of the time, if you just put a little bit bigger bait out there than what you would troll for dolphin, you can find one of those fish. Now, our other species offshore, obviously we've had the 2 days of sportsman season for lobster, and it's been a good one here in the Central East region. In fact, it's been really good. The guys that are anywhere from 60 to 120 feet out of Ponce, Sebastian, and Canaveral all did fairly well in the Central East region this week. Some of those are actually getting up into the 8 and 10 pound range.
What?
Now, most of our lobsters typically don't run quite that big, 2 to 3 pounds on average, but there's some big ones out there. So if you guys get out there, get ready. You might have to fight one of these big behemoths. I do have a photo here with Captain Mark Gibson sent me, and this was his opening day last year with some really nice ones. He had some up to 9 pounds. And he had Debbie Planson, Derek Opp, and Jimmy Williams with him on that trip.
Hey, those are some awesome lobsters. Hey, make sure you send us some pictures next week for how they did this this mini season here, Bub. Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. Now, swinging inshore, Rick, we've got one of our fish that we've started becoming more popular here in the Central East region in the last couple of years, and that's the black drum. They're still roaming around on the flats, especially in the Indian River right now. A few on the Mosquito Lagoon side, a few on the Banana River side, but the Indian River seems to be best. And they're either on the drop-offs or up on the flats first thing in the morning. And then as the day progresses on, then they drop off of the flats and onto those channel edges and depressions where you're going to find those fish. Most of the time, a piece of cut crab or a live shrimp or even a small dark-colored jig tipped with a sand flea can work pretty good for them. And most of those fish are running 15 to 30 pounds right now. And I have a picture here with myself and Jeff Eford with one of the black drum that he caught with me on their last trip out. And then our last species is tarpon. Now, here's what's interesting. Redfish and trout fishing this year and last year haven't been as good, but black drum and tarpon fishing have been getting better every year, and I think it's because we have so many glass minnows right now. Our juvenile fish seem to be showing up everywhere. All 3 lagoons have them. Anywhere where there's fresh water entering the main lagoon system, so creeks, ditches, stormwater pipes, anywhere where we have flowing water coming in, flowing fresh water coming in, seems to be getting these fish gathered around it. Small jigs and flies that imitate those glass minnows are going to get those fish to strike. Now, this past week and a half, we've also had some larger tarpon move in, especially along the ICW channel. And those fish are running 50 to 100 pounds, and they've seemed to have moved down from Ponce Inlet, where the guys were catching them around the North and South Bridge, down into the Mosquito Lagoon around Tiger Basin, into Haul River Canal, all the way down through the Cocoa Rockledge area as well. Guys are using live pilchards and live mullets, but a lot of times the bait's a little hard to get first thing in the morning, so guys are going out and throwing twitch and mullet from Rapala or the subwalk. Now, the key thing to throwing those two on and getting these bigger fish to bite is you have to move the bait very slowly with very little action. The less jerking and twitching you do, the more suspending you let that bait do, the more likely you are to get those fish. So look for them rolling, pull up on them, make long casts, slow presentations, and you could catch a 50 to 100 pound class tarpon right here in the Indian River.
Jim, quickly, what's your favorite color in the twitch and mullet?
Honestly, Rick, with the color of the water we have right now, we have really dirty water in some situations. I use a real bright color, something with an orange belly, or if in clear water situations, a greenback with a silver side and a white belly.
Yeah, that'd be the pilchard color. All right, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the sea sucker hotspots from the Central East region. Offshore mangrove snapper on the 70 to 90 foot reefs and wrecks, free line bait fish, chunks on 25-pound test Suffix fluorocarbon leader, and then inshore, tarpon in the main channel of Ponce Inlet to Edgewater, free line live pilchards or mullets on a VMC circle hook.
All right, the reports are in, and it's time for you to get on the water and make us proud. And remember to send your weekend catch photos to us, and you could end up on our show in your region. Stay tuned for just a little bit longer, and we'll tell you what we're hooking up to next weekend right here on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Yay.
Master your most challenging offshore experience with confidence and ease with Yamaha Helmmaster. Precise, intuitive control on the open seas. Unrivaled ease for maneuvering and docking in port. And now Set Point adds 3 new dimensions to boat control. Maintain boat position with Fish Point, or a position and heading with Stay Point, or a heading while you drift with Drift Point. Yamaha Helmmaster, now with Set Point. Complete digital control for today's larger offshore boats.
When you're paid to put fish in the boat, you don't mess around with the thing that puts fish in the boat. Always use the best line.
Thanks for tuning in to the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes, special segments, and updated fishing reports from your region right on our homepage. Just head to FloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up.
Make sure to tune in next week because we are talking swordies.
Oh,
All
nice.
about the swordfish.
Big beaked catfish.
That's fun. I've done that a few times.
They're delicious.
Have you done that? What, Rick? What are you laughing about?
Rick had me hooked up to the bottom for an hour once.
I don't want the producer, the fun sucker, to rip me a new
She
fanny.
would too.
Okie dokie
So
then.
I'm going to
Thanks
pass on
for
this one.
tuning
You should
in,
pass.
guys. Hope you have a great weekend fishing.
Best thing you've ever done.
And if you're not fishing, we hope you're having a mini season cookout.
That's right. Lobster on the grill.
Lobster on the grill.
Bye,
We'll see you
guys.
guys next week. Bye. Bye.